I'm going to explain some of the torture and agony that Jesus Christ went through in the hours leading up to his crucifixion. First, we'll begin with the scourging or the whipping that he suffered. Victims would be stripped naked usually and handcuffed to a pole or to a wall. This was completely humiliating as they were naked in front of everyone. Then 2 guards would switch off, whipping them 39 times. Think about the fact that the Bible says Jesus was not even recognizable after he was beaten. You wouldn't even know who he was. He was beaten with this called a cat of 9 tails. I'll show you closer. This is a leather whip with a fishing-like sinker on the end for weight. They would attach bone to the end, and a doctor said just one of these could cause a 2-inch gash that went 3/4 of an inch deep and ripped out muscle. Now imagine 9 of them over 39 lashes. A doctor said it would take over 2,000 stitches to repair the skin and muscle that would be hanging from the victim. The final hours of Jesus, part 2. In part 1, we discussed the scourging and the beating of Jesus. In part 2, I'm going to talk about the crown of thorns that was placed on Jesus' head. After Jesus was beaten, the guards put this type of crown of thorns on his head. These thorns are 1 to 2 inches long and they're incredibly sharp. The doctor said that they would pierce the first layer of the human skull, causing massive internal bleeding. What the guards would do is put this crown on the victim's head and beat it into them using a 3 to 4 foot wooden rod. Imagine about 300 of these digging into your skull. Jesus wore this up until the point he was on the cross and until his death. This is the final part of the agony and the torment that Jesus Christ went through. In this part, I will cover the crucifixion. The cross is said to have weighed around 100 to 200 pounds. It has been said through research that Jesus carried this cross about 1/3 of a mile. That's more than a lap around a track. Keep in mind, all of this happened after he was beaten until he was unrecognizable. These are the types of spikes or nails that were used to go through the hands and feet. Alright, warning, this is a little graphic. Contrary to popular belief, the nail went through the base of the hand at the wrist, not through the hand itself. That's because the weight of a person would have literally torn the nail through their hands and they would have fallen off the cross. These Roman soldiers had this torture down to a science. They knew if they put the nail through the base of the hand at the wrist, they would miss all the major arteries while inflicting the most pain. This selfless act covered the sins of all humanity.